We've reached that part of the class where we're going to tackle some of philosophy's hardest questions. And most of these questions do not have satisfactory answers to everybody that reads them. So, what we're going to do is tackle what we call the problem of evil. As we get into the Middle Ages, the idea of God begins to change. And this poses a serious problem when we're in a world with so much suffering. So, we're going to explore that concept in a story. So let's pop over here. What you guys do is you're going to read this one here, The One Who Walk Away from Amelia's. Now, this is a short story. It shouldn't take you too long to read, maybe about 10 or 15 minutes. Once you read that story, I want you to respond to two of the questions below with about a paragraph each. And then when you reply to each other, try not to dive into their brain and try to pull them out of their brain. Maybe ask them something that's outside of what they posted. Because the idea would be is to let them explore this on their own terms with their initial post. But as we get into our reply, you really want to look at what they're saying and no pun intended, but maybe play devil's advocate with them and be like, that was great. And I definitely agree with you. Very insightful, very thoughtful. But what if we went this way? How would you respond to such a question in that way? So that's kind of what we're doing for this option right here. If you stick around, I'll give you some context and maybe it'll help you flesh out your story and your responses just a little bit. So, for context, if we think about religion as a linear timeline, it is going to start in the caveman era where they're looking out into the forces and they see this lightning bolt, they see thunder, they see fire. They don't know how to comprehend what they're looking at, so they just kind of attach some type of spiritual meaning to it. And then as we progress in our human history, we start to get to an age where we're personifying these feelings and we're attaching names to the various things that we see, and we enter an age where there's beliefs in multiple gods, and we start adding images to them, dogma to them, scriptures to them, and we start kind of formalizing and structure what that religion and what those gods look like. The unique thing about monotheism, especially in the world of Judaism and Christianity and Islam, is it's no longer just many gods. It is no longer just a abstract form of a singular god. This particular god has very specific needs, very specific wants, and very specific desires, and there's a huge expectation, obligation, and responsibility from that God's followers to do certain things. Now, there's one particular verse right here that kind of trips up philosophers as they're kind of looking into this phenomenon that they'll call, religion. And I'm meaning this back in like the dark ages of like the Middle Ages, maybe 300 AD, even as it progresses into 1100 AD. There's a verse here that says, um, it was therefore within his purpose that he gave us the gift of trusting in him. This is an incomparable gift. So the gift is we trust that this, you know, monotheistic, all powerful, all wise, all loving God knows what's best for us. And you have to put all of that trust into the plan. So he says, so we are to believe in such a way as to be ready to suffer on his behalf, because at the end of the day, we know whatever suffering or pain or evil falls upon us, it's all, going to work out at the end. So, this was the idea that a lot of the medieval philosophers and priests and laymen were kind of grappling with is how can I be a willing participant in a world full of evil? Um, I know I have free will. I know sin introduced it, but at the end of the day, I have to understand that it's all part of the plan, a part of the greater good. So that is what you're grappling with this week is the problem of evil, the 2,000-year-old question that us philosophers kind of discussed. So like I said, Read the story. I have a couple links here to kind of help you understand that kind of medieval mindset that they had, and then respond to at least two questions, a paragraph each. Like I said, just talk it out and let us know what you're thinking.